So today I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story time video. And I'm going to tell you about how I am still smiling despite having been lied on by not one, but possibly two people at my job. And while I tell you that story, I'm going to repot my plants. So the first plant that I am going to repot is this beauty. She needs some work and she's growing, but I think that I need to change the soil, and I'm also going to, where is anything? I'm also going to put her into this bigger container. Wish me luck. I am not a plant mom, but I managed to keep this one alive for 2 years. So my story about my work starts with, well, first I'll just say that I work in a very typical like corporate America type job with a lot of the very typical dynamics between people. There is a lot of passive aggressiveness. There's a lot of just downright aggressiveness. There is just a lot of like blaming, egotistical stuff, general foolery, general BS, all of that. So I work at a company, and as part of my job, I have to have access to different types of software. So one of the softwares that I need access to, I started to try to get access to this software over a month ago. So as the time of this filming of this video, I have been working on trying to get access to this software for over a freaking month. And I started a month ago because I had something that needed to be published. And I knew that just working with IT stuff, you know, you have to kind of like account for the extra time that simple stuff takes when you're working with this, you know, when you can't just do stuff yourself. So I definitely was trying to, you know, account for that amount of time. So first, I contacted the woman. We're going to call her, let's call her Harriet. So I contacted Harriet and let her know what the deal was. Harriet tells me, okay, yeah, sure, I will just go ahead and get that together for you. I will get your access. I'll check everything out for you. Awesome, Harriet. I am super busy, and so I just think like, okay, she's gonna do it, no big deal. Fast forward, when it is time for me to actually use the software, I log in and I see that I, in fact, do not have access. I'm just checking over my plant to make sure I got all the little dead parts. And lo and behold, guess what? I did not have access to the doggone software. I did not have the right level of access to the doggone software. So I contacted her again, and I'm going to tell this part without touching the plant because I actually don't want to transfer bad energy to my plant by, you know, being upset and talking about this. And if you hear like crazy stuff going on in the background, it is my cat. So I contacted her again, let her know like, hey, this is what's going on. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go in and update your access. I'll get it all sorted out for you. Okay, a couple of days go by, nothing. And so at this point, I'm like, well, you are being a hindrance. So we can call her Hindrance Harriet. And I'm gonna go and talk to someone else about this because I do not have time, like, do not have time for this. I contacted the vendor that is a direct support person for our software. This cat is doing crazy stuff when I'm trying to tell my story. And the vendor is like, well, you know, I cannot grant your access. You have to go and talk to Harriet, and you may need to check with, let's call him Horrid. So Horrid is Harriet's manager. Horrid has apparently been with this company for probably over a decade. Horrid has been able to act a whole ass to several different people on several different occasions for the entirety of his tenure at this company. He has received 0 repercussions for this behavior, and he is still gainfully employed at this company. I know that for a lot of you, this scenario sounds probably very, very familiar. So after all of that happens, I'm finally invited to a meeting, and I'm keeping this story kind of short because there's actually like 13 different times that I emailed back and forth. I had meetings, I had calls to try to get this resolved, which this should be like super simple. You literally go into the software, click my name, and assign different permissions. Like, it's not rocket science. This felt like a deliberate attempt to keep me from using this software that the whole company pays for, not just Harriet, not just Horrid, or not just their department. So fast forward like steps 3 until 13. Let's just skip ahead because probably everybody knows how dealing with other people works. So I will not bore you with those details. But fast forward to yesterday. I was invited to a meeting where I was told I was misled to believe that during the meeting my issue would be resolved. So I get on the meeting, Harriet takes over the meeting, starts talking about her problems with the software, blah, blah, blah. And so I was very patient. The meeting was 30 minutes. So she talked for about 10 minutes, and she started to reference some of the things that I should be able to do in the software. So I cut her off, and I was like, hey, like, I still don't have access to be able to do these things that you're talking about, so I don't want you to go through all of this speech about like how to do stuff when I can't even see what you are looking at. My screen literally does not look like yours. And we know why, Harriet. So she goes on, she's like just fluff, like, oh yeah, I'll look into that again, and have you had a meeting with Horrid, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, I recapped steps 3 through 12 for her. We're at step 13. What more do you want me to do? And so I very, very bluntly called her out, not in a mean way, but in a professional way, but just like, hey, you are aware of all of the efforts that I've made to try to get access to this software. I don't know why you're trying to fake the funk on this call. I don't know why you're trying to act stupid, but just give me the access to the software. She says, okay, but you have to talk to Horrid, okay? So at this point, I'm like done, because I've gone back and forth with both of these people several times to try to get access to this software. The software is an integral part of what I have to do for work. It's not like I'm asking for access to TikTok or something, okay? Come on now. So after the meeting is over, so I stayed until the end of the meeting. You know, when you click off of a Zoom call and everyone's like, bye, have a good day, thank you, I hope you have a good weekend, happy Tuesday, all this BS. I stayed through all of that, and I sent my manager an email letting her know, recap the steps 1 through 13, what just happened, I need your help, you need to figure this out, this is beyond me, this is above me at this point, okay? My manager sends an email to her manager and to Horrid, who is Harriet's manager, asking him to grant my software access. Horrid comes back. They were not 0.5% lies. They were not 0.25% lies. They were full, fat, full, blown, 100%, nothing else, no byproducts, no additives, no preservatives, no artificial flavors, nothing. These are 100% bona fide, bold-faced ass lies. But he puts in an email, lies on me, says that not only have I actually had the correct access in the software since July, it is now end of September when I'm recording this. That's lie number one. Lie number two, he says that I had not contacted him for access. And lie number three was that I did not stay until the end of the meeting previously discussed as step number 13, okay? So the meeting that I literally just got out of and asked for help for the umpteenth time, Harriet, who was in the meeting, I guess she goes back and tells Howard that I didn't stay through the meeting. Here's two things. Number one, the meeting was not about my problem that I had. When I tried to ask for help during the meeting, number two, I was told to contact Howard. So, even if I had left the meeting, what difference does it make? It makes no difference. But aside from that, I did not leave the meeting. I stayed the entirety of the meeting. That had nothing at all to do with my black ass or my problems. Nothing at all. So, late yesterday, at like, I think like 4:30, 4:45, 5 o'clock, whatever, I actually, it's quitting time. I went to the store. I went grocery shopping. I got some dinner. I came back and I saw that my work phone had several messages and missed calls, and my work email I had like 10 emails. I went, oh my gosh, what is going on? And I usually don't check work stuff after quitting time because that's one of my boundaries that I have made for myself. I used to like wake up first thing in the morning and check my work email, but I don't do that anymore because I understand that my mental well-being is more important than anything that could be going on in my inbox, okay? I don't say lies for work. I don't put out people's fires. I don't save kittens from trees. So let's be honest. You guys don't need to contact me at 7:30 at night, okay? So, but in this case, I was like, what is going on? Because my computer screen was still up and I saw like all of these ding ding dings and all this stuff. So I read through everything and I saw that my manager had emailed me, called me, and sent me instant messages telling me kind of like what was going on behind the scenes. Turns out, Harriet, most likely, told Horrid that I left the meeting early, and all these other lies about my access. Then Horrid put those lies into an email to both my manager and her manager. So now my manager and her manager both are seeing blatant lies about me and what I've done in this stupid meeting that I stayed until the end of, even though it had nothing to do with me. And I was like, whoa, this guy is not only unhelpful, this guy is manipulative and rude and awful and horrible, and he probably smells bad, and he probably doesn't wash his socks. He probably just is a horrible person. He probably like never washes his rims on his car. He probably does not tip his waitresses. I mean, I'm thinking the worst of this guy right now. He is just a total, utter lying person. I'm like, how much do I want to say about this stank ass situation? I don't know. Anyway, so I guess guess to wrap it up, I communicated to my manager that he was lying, and I communicated that very plainly. In my communications to her, I said I want to be abundantly clear. What this man has said about my efforts to get this situation sorted out and my efforts yesterday is all a blatant lie. 100% a goddamn lie. And I called it lies. I didn't say there was a misunderstanding. No, it was a lie. That's what it was. It's a bunch of lies. Anyway, so after all that was happening, my manager actually offered to call me last night and to talk about it. And I was like, no ma'am, you need to go and attend to your family stuff. It is like, I think it was like 8:30 for her. It was like 7:30 for me. And I told her, I was like, no, like we will not let this foolishness interrupt our evenings. Like I refuse. I'm not gonna participate in it, and I'm not gonna ask you to. That's crazy. So today I talked to her again about it, and it just turns out that this man has been this horrid man, and his extension, Harriet. But we're gonna focus on him because he has a really long tenure with the company and apparently has been exhibiting these kinds of behaviors with different people, not just me or not just with my manager. He's been acting like this for years and being allowed to get away with it, which is to me totally unacceptable. I did tell my manager this, and I told her that it was whack. Yes, I used that word. And I told her it was toxic. Yes, I used that word. Classic millennial. Talking about things being toxic, because sometimes things are toxic. So I told her that, and I told her, I'll do my best, but like, I'm not going to forget this. Like, this is crazy. I've never been just blatantly lied on. Like, this is just unbelievable to me. So that's the backstory. So now I'm going to start trying to repot my plant and tell you about how therapy helped me to be able to deal with this situation in a more healthy way than I probably would have been able to do in the past. Yeah, so last night when I was thinking about this, after I talked to my manager, I was like, well, you know what? My value as an employee, certainly as a person, but my general, I am making a mess on camera, y'all. Then I have to clean up. I try not to make a mess. But my general value as a person is not obviously connected to what Horrid or Hagrid, what did I name her? Harriet. What Horrid, those are not their real names obviously, but it's not connected to what those people think about me or what they say about me. Thankfully in this situation, my manager has been very supportive and believes me, but even if she had not, like, the truth is that I don't have to, get as upset with stuff like this. I don't have to overreact. Am I going to address it if it comes up again, or if it can, if something like this kind of impedes my progress in this position? Yes, absolutely. But am I going to sit around and stew in what this jackass lied and said about me? No. In the past, would I have done that? Absolutely, I would have done that. I would have taken it very personally. I would have been like, how dare he? He's a horrible person, which I do still think and feel those things, but I am not so, I guess, as upset about it as I would have been in other times, because I also no longer attach my value to what other people think of me, especially at work. I do still value being a good friend and a good person, and especially being a good friend because most of my social interactions are with my friends right now. So I very much value being a good friend and daughter and like all that stuff, but I no longer have so much of my value attached to my job. So that's one thing. The other thing is that by going through therapy, I have learned that everybody has their own stuff. And by stuff, I mean their own insecurities, their own reasons for doing stuff, their own ass backwards logic, like whatever you want to call it. Everybody has their own stuff. And it's not my job to take on the feelings of people like in this situation. Again, if I was talking about a friend or trying to help a friend or something, and I was, wanting to like empathize with him, I would definitely have more of an attachment to what happened to them and why they were doing what they were doing and all this stuff. But in this case, it's not really, that's not my jam. Like, that's not my job. That's not what I'm gonna do. And so anyway, having that kind of separation between my identity and what I value. So having the separation between who I am and what I value and what I do for work is very, very helpful. Now, I'm not saying that, you should let people like get away with, now I have dirt on my hands. I'm not saying that you should let people mistreat you or get away with anything. I'm saying that it's not your job to try to fix people or make them better or make them do the right thing or really any of that. Like, it's really your job just to take care of yourself and your mental health needs. And for you to decide what that means for you. So for me, me prioritizing my mental health in this situation simply means just addressing the fact that this whole situation has been in years in the making, and there's not a lot that I can do about this person's behavior. There's certainly only so much that I can do about the environment in which this kind of behavior has been tolerated for so many years. Because me coming in as a newer employee and just experiencing the same crap that's been going on for years apparently, it's like, obviously there is some organizational, cultural acceptance of this kind of behavior, and I don't have any pull over this person and I don't have any influence to change his behavior. So the best thing that I can do and what I've decided to do is to protect myself, 100% protect myself. That means not engaging in any other bullshit with this person or with anybody else for that matter. So that's number one. Number two, not worrying about it at night. I know that I have done what was right. I know that I've done a good job. I know that I care about my work. I know that I'm performing, doing the best that I can. And if it gets to the point where this person's behavior negatively influences how my work is being perceived and I cannot, talk to anyone about that, or I can't, navigate that through talking, then that just tells me that it's time to look for another opportunity. I no longer take it upon myself mentally to try to go in and like fix people and fix situations and bend people's behaviors to my will and all of that. Life is too short. The world is too big. I'm fortunate to have a marketable skill set that I can go look for other opportunities if it comes to that. And I'm also, because I no longer have like strong attachments to my self-worth, between my self-worth and my job, I definitely used to, but I no longer have the attachment to companies. Like, to me now, I have a better relationship with work. Work is how I get money to be able to live and enjoy as much of life as I can when I can. But it's no longer like the be all end all of like who I am and what my life is going to be about and all this stuff. And because of that, I don't have like these very strong ties to particular companies. And in the past, I definitely have. And I will say in the past too though, the companies that I had stronger ties to, they had better cultures. So there's something to be said with, you know, from an organizational psychology kind of standpoint. There's also something to be said about how to facilitate stronger levels of attachment between your business and its employees. And you cannot do that if you are allowing some people to have so much privilege in the organization to where if they're lying on people or being unethical or making things difficult for the people, and that's accepted. Like, you can't give even one person that amount of privilege over your other employees and then expect the other employees to have this kind of like undying loyalty to your organization. So that's like your organizational psychology tip of the day. In case you are thinking of starting a business, keep that in mind. No one can just be an ass and everyone else is like, okay, I guess we just will accept it. There's always going to build some resentment or some type of wall between that employee and organization when that happens, and that has definitely happened in my case. Well, in my case, I actually had the wall, the healthy wall, before I even started. So anyway, yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to cover. Just basically just talking about, you know, like through therapy, I've been able to really break the association between me and my self-worth and like the quality of my life, the living of my life, and what I do for work. No matter who I do it for or what exactly the job is, those two things are now separate, and I have a healthier relationship with work. And yeah, so yeah, this has been a really great test of my ability to have that separation. I wish I did not have to go through this test, but it has been a good test, you know, to just see how I'm doing with maintaining those separations and like not having that attachment. And based on my ability to just kind of cut it off last night, not worry about it, I went to sleep, I slept fine, whatever. Based on that, I feel like I'm doing a good job. So therapy works, kids. Stay in therapy. I did not get to pot my other plant, so I'm gonna go do that now. And I guess that's it. I'll see you in the next video. I hope that in the meantime you do not run into a Harriet or a Horrid, but if you do, you know what to do. What do? Oh, you know what to do. Just take a step back and figure out, you know, what would be the best for you to do to preserve your mental health. Chances are the best thing to do is not going to be like to cuss them out or go over to the house and, you know, throw a an extra large big gulp icy straight in their face as they come out in the morning. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just kind of do some self-reflection, take a step back, plan your exit if you need to do that, but always keeping in mind that you're an individual, you deserve to be treated well, and not to really expect a company to acknowledge you as an individual or even to prioritize your well-being or your good treatment. So that's your tip, kids. Go out into the world, be safe and happy. If you found some value and or entertainment from this video, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time, and I hope my plants won't be dead. Bye.